Hello and welcome to Big Nostalgia with me, VicStar.
And me, haddowinc.
This week is our season finale with an awesome game, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a crowd favourite, including with me and Philip here. We love this game, to a degree. There are certain bits that I don't know about you, but I like, and certain bits that I dislike, and of course, with the 3D remake, some things that have been improved. But that's all stuff that we're going to talk about today, which is very exciting.
I'm excited. I've been looking forward to this one.
Oh, yes.
Not that I've not looked forward to all of the games we covered
Obviously.
this season.
But
you have to end with the biggest firework.
Oh, yes. The biggest firework always comes at the end. So let's get on with it. This is Majora's Mask. It was actually released in the EU the 27th of April 2000. So this game is officially 20 years old.
Yeah, I noticed that some of the Zelda fan pages are doing a Majora's month or something like that because it's 20 years of Majora's Mask.
So you can kind of guess when we're recording this one.
Yeah. It's not live, if you didn't realise.
Didn't realise already, this is not a live show. Sorry for bursting some people's bubbles. So, I want to start off by talking about development. After the release of course, Ocarina of Time, Shigeru Miyamoto was planning the release of a version of the game for the Nintendo 64 DD with remade dungeons. However, Eijiro Amura did not like the idea of remaking the same dungeons, so he secretly started working on new ones instead. Dun dun dun! There's drama, there's mystery, this is a good game. After asking Miyamoto if he could make a new game, he replied that he could do it as long as it was made in 1 year. So, obviously this game has a lot of influence from Ocarina of Time. It is a direct sequel, which was a new concept for the Nintendo 64, as not many games on the Nintendo 64 had sequels such as this. Sometimes they had two Snowboard Kids 2 or whatever like that, but they didn't actually have a continuous storyline. So that's one of the reasons they're made in 1 year, which is pretty impressive if you think how unique the gameplay is.
Almost sounds like the plot of a movie, doesn't it? I don't want to do things your way. Well, fine, but you've only got 1 year. Impress me.
Yeah, shock face, or that cat looking up from the piano, ah! You know the one.
I do.
While thinking in ideas for the game, Amuro met Yukishiki Kurozumi, I'm really sorry for my pronunciation of the names, who proposed a system of time passing where the same moments would be played over and over again. Thus, the 3-day system was created. Although originally, I'm sure you know this one, they were considering a week rather than 3 days, and they found out that it was far too long a timescale and reduced it dramatically to the 3-day cycle because it just fitted in better with the concept and the storyline, which I think was a very good move. Otherwise, imagine how long this game would be. They wouldn't be able to have the repetitive time frame too much if it was a week long.
I think the problem's more it would be a week, but I think they'd be able to there wouldn't be more stuff to do. It'd just be more spread out.
Yeah, and
so the way that it's in 3 days means that barely an hour or two of in-game time goes past, and you're like, the next thing's going to happen. I'm going to go there.
Which makes it a lot more of a tighter game, which makes gameplay a lot more fluid.
Yeah, it means that, it flows a lot more, and also it means more stuff has to overlap, which kind of means that you have to prioritise, do the decision-making, almost like the strategic elements to it.
Which is definitely in the original version rather than the 3D version, which I will be comparing it to because, for obvious reasons, there was a lot more. They've ironed out a lot of the problems the original one had with the whole 3-day cycle, but some of that made the game the way it was. So I'm not sure if I like the ironed out, how you can save a little bit easier, stuff like that. Wouldn't you agree?
The saving I always thought was it was a problem in the original Majora's Mask. You either had to do a full 3-day cycle in one sitting, or you had to use the owl statues. But the owl statues would only work once, and then if you had to like reset the game or if the game crashed, which it did tend to do, you then lost all your progress. But I'm not sure if that's because I think we had a gold Majora's Mask cart, which means that it was version 1.0, so I'm not sure if that just meant it was buggy.
Yeah. But I do agree, there's definitely been some improvements with the 3D version, but and that is definitely one of them. It's I did just like the way that everything felt a lot more dramatic in the first one because of this. You had to kind of commit yourself to the game, whereas this makes the gameplay a lot easier, but it doesn't, there's no heightened urgency anymore.
But it's, I don't know, like, I've always thought, like, it doesn't stop you from doing, like, a 3-day cycle in one go on the 3DS, so...
No, I suppose.
I think it's just, like, it's more dramatic to have your dinner if you've got an electric current flowing through your knife and fork.
I suppose, but it doesn't change the taste of the food. If we stop the electric
current...
Yeah, it doesn't really change the taste of the food, though, does it?
No, and if we took the electric current away, you wouldn't be like, well, this isn't as challenging.
Interesting analogy there.
Yeah, not sure how I thought of that one.
The idea of the moon falling came from Kazumi while daydreaming about what would happen if the moon started to fall towards Earth. During development of the Ocarina of Time, some ideas were not fully utilised, including the use of the masks. So they really wanted to bring that concept into Majora's Mask. I do love the concept of the masks. I love how they're used in the game. I love how you have to collect them to help defeat the final boss. I love how they're integrated into the timeline. It's a very interesting concept.
No, the masks, like... The thing is, they could have had half as many masks and it's still been seen as being like, oh my god, there's so many masks. But they have like 24.
Yeah, but...
25?
Don't you feel that some of the masks are not exactly useless, but a little bit of like page fillers?
There's some masks that give you like, that do like one specific thing and that's it. I mean, some are the payoff of quite long quests. So the one I'm thinking of is the couples mask. So that one takes quite a while to get. You have to do the Kofei and Anju side quest,
which
and get
is
it at the end of
very
that.
Committed.
But the only thing that I think you can actually get with it is you go into the Clock Town office and you stop them from arguing, and they give you a heart piece. So the payoff, but then arguably the gameplay in that is getting the mask, not using the mask. Whereas other ones, the gameplay is using the mask, not so much getting it, because you just kind of get it quite easily, but then you have to use it.
Well, with the exception of the Giant's mask, the rest of the masks either give Link new abilities, i.e. the blast marks, instant explosions, or disguise him. So that's pretty cool. They all have a purpose. Did you know, you probably know this, I think you know this, some of the masks, like the fox, the bird, the frog and the pig are supposed to be like little Easter eggs into Star Fox.
Yes, and they're all on the same line in the masks.
Yeah, and they're kind of lined up in order as well. So you've got the fox, the falcon, and then like the old Flippy. Bless Flippy.
I think the bunny hood's on that row as well.
Oh yes, for
Peppy.
Peppy, yeah.
That's a game we haven't done yet. Maybe we'll do that next year.
I don't know why that warranted that response, but I'm going to roll with it. Did you know that the original name of the game was The Legend of Zelda Side Story? Prior to its North American release, the game was referred to as The Legend of Zelda Mask of... Now, it's not Majora, it's Majula, Mugula, and The Legend of Zelda, the Gaiden, Gaiden, on the official Nintendo website. And then the former was directly translated of the Japanese title, and the letter of the game made it into what it was. Majora.
So I think Zelda Gaiden, I think, was its name when it was... Sorry, Zelda Gaiden was its name when it was going to be just Remix Dungeons, I think.
Yeah, so it's been a working title all the way through.
But Majula is kind of like being the Japanese, I guess, way of saying it. It's just because in Japanese, L's and R's are very similar. So therefore, when it was translated, it's translated to Majora.
Also, there was
Majora.
a tribe called Majora that they base some of their ideas. This tribe in Japan actually uses masks a lot in their like cultural sort of stand-in, and some say that's where the inspiration came for the Majora's mask. Because some of the designs of their tribal masks look like what ended up being Majora's mask.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Hey, ding. Little bit of information there.
Are you keeping like a little tally? Like
No,
stuff
shut up.
know?
No. So, the graphics. The graphics are slightly improved in Majora's Mask from Ocarina of Time, possibly due to the necessities of the Nintendo 64's expansion pack, a memory increase and add-on. As second Zelda game to the 3D graphics, Majora's Mask used the same engine as its predecessor, and even used some of the same characters and enemy models, obviously with the year's time limit. Right, another name. Miji Mura, no, it's just the same name as before. Mura, a key developer of the game, had stated that reusing many aspects of the Ocarina of Time allowed his team to program the game in less than 2 years, as Ocarina of Time took no less than 4 years to develop. Which makes a lot of sense with his like time limit and his challenge from head office.
Although it shows what apps. It shows their priorities a little bit. That one of the things that is improved in Majora's Mask that was not in Ocarina of Time is that Link does front flips over gaps and like side flips. So despite the fact they had this massive time crunch, you're like, no, this will look cool. We've got time to put
This is
in.
priority. You need to get some men on this. This is needed in this game.
What if, instead of just hopping over like he did in Ocarina of Time, he front flips like an acrobat?
Oh yeah. He's got skills in this
don't-
game. Skills to pay the bills. But
Is that a priority? That's top priority.
But it is interesting how they did manage to make such an interesting concept in such a short time. And as I was saying earlier, this with the progression of the story in 2 games on the same console. I mean, you know, most secondary games come out on the next gen.
What other Zelda games use the same engine as their predecessor? You've got Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. Those both came out on Nintendo
You've got
DS.
Twilight Princess and you've got Skyward Sword. But technically they have different mechanics, as a Skyward Sword relied heavily on the motion controls to its own fault.
And they've got different art styles as well, different designs.
Yeah,
They
not.
don't reuse very many assets.
No, and they're not near each other in the timeline. If you look at Hyrule Historia, like I have, because it is awesome, they're not near each other in the timeline either, whereas these actually storylines from the first one, I mean, set up this game,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Although, if they had released Breath of the Wild a little bit sooner, then that would have been one, because that was getting developed for Wii U. But it just took so long to develop, they moved it to, they released it as well on Switch, like they did with Twilight Princess and
But would you say their
GameCube.
design are similar? Because I'd say Twilight Princess is a lot more like darker and grittier game. Also, it follows the time, like the get from A to B to Z to Z sort of style, where of course Breath of the Wild is just a open gameplay.
Well, no, those 2 games are like pretty much completely different. I was just saying that like Twilight Princess was being developed for the GameCube and got moved on to the Wii and got released on both.
Okay.
Breath of the Wild was getting developed for the Wii U.
And then get pushed on to the next gen.
Yeah, and then it got released on both. But now, obviously, Breath of the Wild 2 is in development, which is going to be like Majora's Mask, because it's going to use... It looks like, from the teaser trailer we got like a year ago, that it's going to use the same engine. Yeah, they didn't put a year time limit on that game, did they?
No. Well, as the second Zelda game with 3D graphics, Majora's Mask used the same engine as its predecessor. Sorry, I said that. The vast areas the game featured had improved definition in comparison of those seen in previous Zelda games. The fog distance in the near non-existent, enemies are more detailed, and the overall atmosphere is more realistic, which brings a sort of, characteristic to the game. Another achievement of the expansion pack is that the multiple non-playable characters can perform different tasks without impacting on the frame rate. Larger level design was possible, and many more enemies are present at the same time, most notably in Termina Field, contrasting with the barely populated Hyrule Field from the previous Zelda game.
Yeah, because if you think about it, you've got like quite a lot of enemies roaming around, and to be able, if you're say rolling around Termina Field as a Goron, you're going quite fast, so the game is probably having to do quite a lot to load in, the new environments and new
Goron
stuff.
roll doesn't exactly slow down for no man, does it? But it still keeps up that sort of energy and that tension. Definitely when you're doing that charge, charge bit, it's, as you said, still keeps up.
Yeah. I wonder if that's linked to it then. I wonder if in areas where it won't be able to load the scenery quick enough, you just can't get enough tyre spin to go that fast.
Don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that'd be an interesting design choice, but sounds like it'd be really complicated to program.
Well, as we are talking about Termina, we might as well move on to the setting. Termina World is a parallel dimension to Hyrule's world, which is a very common theme in Zelda games, which I never really noticed before, and now I can't stop seeing everywhere. Let's have Hyrule. Where could be the other world? I know, let's just flip it on its bum.
Yeah, no, Zelda loves its dual worlds.
Oh, yes.
To be honest, Breath of the Wild might be the first Zelda game without one for a while. You had it goes from A Link to the Past had the Dark World and the Light World.
Twilight Princess had the Shadow Realm.
No, the present and the future.
Twilight Princess.
Oh, Twilight Princess, had the Twilight Realm.
Yeah. Which one were you thinking of?
I was thinking of Ocarina of Time for some reason. Majora's Mask, you get transported just to another world.
A Link Between Worlds, obviously, you've got Lowell.
Wind Waker, you've got the Land Under the Sea.
Yeah, it's crazy how many there are, really. That would be a constant... That could be a quiz, question, whole section. Parallel universes in the Legend of Zelda franchise.
See if how many you could name.
Yeah.
And which games have them.
We'd win it. Not to brag. Anyway. There are some characters, obviously, that have their counterparts in Hyrule, except for Link, Eponia, and the entire Karuki tribe, and possibly the Masked Salesman, who are all residents of Hyrule. Kokiri, that's the one. The entire Kokiri tribe, and of course the Masked Salesman. Guess who the Masked Salesman was based off of? The looks.
It's Shigeru Miyamoto,
wasn't it? That's weird.
Yeah.
The creepiest guy in the game, and they're just let's base it from our, creator.
Well, to be honest, he's the one that gave him the year time limit, wasn't it? So
he's a dick.
Well,
let's make him the creepy character.
Let's make you the creepy character that potentially kicked off all the chain of events by having Majora's Mask.
Well, even Skull Kid is confirmed to be from Hyrule, because at the end of the game he familiarizes Link as the one who taught him that song in the Lost Woods.
Yeah, because you find him you go and play your ocarina for a Skull Kid in the first game.
Yeah. As one of the mini quests.
Yeah, because Skull Kid is just what the creature is called, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not what the character is called, because there are Skull Kids in the forest. And how does one become a Skull Kid?
It's a child gets lost in the Lost Woods.
They do. Of course, based off the Peter Pan, which of course Link is based off of originally, his green tunic and everything from the Peter Pan concept. So I thought that was an interesting way of bringing that element of the story into the game.
I'm trying to think what adults become. They become the skeleton warriors, don't they?
Yeah. And I'm guessing their pet dogs become the wolves. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Don't picnic in the Lost Woods. But there, of course, are 5 large lands or worlds, as stated, in Termina. Name all 5, which of course you can do.
So does Clocktown count?
Yeah.
Okay, so Clocktown in the centre.
Mm-hmm.
You got Snowhead.
Which is, Snowhead Mountain.
Ikana Canyon.
Yep.
Oh, it's the marshlands. I'm trying to think of what it's called. I was listening to the Majora's Mask soundtrack when I was working the other day, but I didn't actually stop to look at any of the song names.
No, it has two more, but what marshlands?
Beachhead?
Great Bay Coast.
Great Bay, yeah.
Have you said Southern Swamp? You have, haven't you? Which would be the marshland.
I didn't get the name of it. The last one is a swamp.
Yeah, there's actually one more. Romanian Ranch.
So that's 6.
Is that 6? Clocktown, Romanian Ranch, Southern Swamp.
Romani Ranch.
Oh, sorry. Snowhead and Great Bay Coast. Oh, Ikana Canyon. Yeah. Maybe they don't count Romanian Ranch. But I do, because it's a separate area.
I'm picturing like some Romanian people on a ranch now.
Sorry for my pronunciation.
Yeah, well, that's kind of down the. I suppose it is separate because it's like it's not directly towards swamp, is it?
No, it's in the woodland area, but it's not anything to do with the swamp.
Is the area just called Woodland? Oh no, it's a Woodland Temple.
It would be the Woodfall Temple.
Woodfall.
And of course, then it's the Snowhead Temple.
Great Bay Temple.
Great Bay Temple and Stowe Tower Temple.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got there in the end.
So, the cartridge, of course, was of course used by most all Nintendo 64 games. They tried to introduce a Nintendo 64 DD, but it didn't really work, so they stuck with the cartridge look. In the United States and Canada, all versions of the game came with a gold cartridge. However, only the ones with the collector's edition logo on the box came with the moving hologram effect of the cartridge label, while the ones without the logo came without it. So if you were posh enough to go with the collector's edition, you got a shiny moving logo. Wahey!
Oh, that must have been really creepy.
Yeah, definitely it was Majora's Mask, like, hello. Ah! Wah. And of course in Europe, the PAL version of the game also came with gold cartridges, which we had, woohoo, but were not named collected editions and lacked the hologram effect of the cartridge label. The only PAL collector's edition was released in Australia, where it had the logo and North American cartridges label, although they lacked the moving hologram effect. So they basically saved that really cool effect for America and Canada only.
Yeah, it's really weird how Nintendo will do like those cool things for only one region.
Yeah,
like
it's weird, isn't it?
when Majora's Mask 3D came out, obviously there was the Skull Kid statue, and that was just part of the standard collector's edition for the United States. But in order to get it in the UK, you needed to get the Majora's Mask 3DS. Because that's when you got me it, didn't you? You just got a version off eBay or something. Just because I didn't want the 3DS. I had a 3DS. I just wanted the statue.
And the statue is very cool.
I'm looking at it right now.
Woohoo! Well, did you know a limited edition adventure set was also released, which actually sounds pretty sweet. And if I'd been into gaming and old enough and to understand all of this at that time, I was 10. So no. It was limited to 1,000 copies. It included a copy of Majora's Mask, the original soundtrack, a watch, a shirt, 2 pins, a poster, a sticker, and a certificate of authenticity. It was only available in Europe. Imagine having one of those. That's damn.
That'd be great.
That would be woo in your collection, wouldn't it?
Probably would have cost a bit. And
I think so, yeah.
But I would still be wearing that Majora's Mask watch if I had it.
Yeah, even if it, the batteries went and stuff. I've never heard of that limited edition set before, but that sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, I wonder if, thing is, it'd be cool if it was like, the Clocktown clock. But the thing is, it was probably just Majora's Mask as a back face to a regular watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, only cool people think of using the clock face as a clock.
Only cool people use clocks as clocks.
Yeah, basically that's what I'm saying. So, we should move on to something that we both know very well, the story.
So Zelda is riding his horse, Frank.
Shut up. Just no. Disowned as a Zelda fan. Get out. So, of course, Ocarina of Time leaves us with Link putting the Master Sword back into the pedestal. He walks off, and Navi the fairy flies off into the out of the window and is gone. This this game starts us off with him looking for his lost friend, which of course is obviously Navi, riding his trusty steed Epona through a dark forest, and he encounters Skull Kid wearing the Majora's Mask with his two friends Tattle and Tail.
Yeah.
Which I always thought were like silly names.
Well, it's Tattletale, isn't it?
Yeah, I just.
Although, to be honest, it took me as first playing the game, I didn't even really. It's one of those things where you just don't really register it until you're a bit older.
And then you're like, yeah.
Then you're like, oh yeah. And I always think of the Zelda bridge joke of like, hee hee, tail tattle.
Yeah, Link not even clocking or whatever. And then, of course, Link follows Majora's Mask, who steals his ocarina and his horse down a deep, dark hole into Termina, into the back of the clock tower, and Majora is so pissed off, he turns him into a Deku Scrub.
Yes, well, he gets turned into a Deku Scrub before he reaches Clock Town, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's the space behind Clock Town, isn't it? That kind of unofficial learning zone for your new character.
Yeah.
Which every good game has a little bit of a, this is how you don't die.
Yeah, no, the opening area, you can't get through it until you've grasped the basic mechanics of Deku Link, which is
fair enough.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean,
well, to be honest, that very first bit, you have to be able to jump a few platforms, don't you, to be able to as regular Link.
Yeah.
So it kind of reacquaints you a little bit with the controls.
And then once you become Deku Link, there's that bit where you have to, burrow into the ground and fly across, and that has grass beneath it. And then the next section, you burrow down, fly across with nothing beneath you. So it kind of gradually gets you into it. It's such a big area, though, to be stuck behind Clock Town. You're just like, how does this even work?
Well, it's kind of underneath, isn't it? Because you come up through the basement of
yeah, all higgledy-piggledy, but, fictional worlds, they can do it however style they like, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is implied to be a parallel dimension for, I don't think there's any logical argument about the space and how things fit.
No, I suppose not. Of course, then he comes through the basement of Clock Town and he meets the Happy Mask salesman, who begs him to get back the mask that Skull Kid has stolen from him, and talks about this mask with very dark and foreboding powers, and you're just like, yeah, that sounds like something I can do.
Yeah.
Why not, Give it a go. Save the day again. And that, son of a monkey's got my Ocarina of Time, so 2 for 1 really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think at first he's just like, go get your Ocarina back. I don't think, even the thing about the moon doesn't get introduced until after you've done the first cycle, does it? And you actually see it for yourself. And he's like, oh, look at what almost happened. Now I'm gonna, now you got your Ocarina, I can turn you back into a human. But you gotta go defeat that naughty Skull Kid.
Yeah, because originally he just tells you to get it back. He doesn't give you much backstory.
Well, the first 3 days are quite scripted. Well, not scripted, but you're led quite heavily anyway.
Yeah, you can't leave Clock Town. You have to see the bomber characters. It gives you a bit more dynamic, bit more understanding of the character of the Deku. You can see the Great Fairy if you want to, but the big thing is going to the astronomy tower and meeting that old man and looking through and working out where Skull Kid is. Did you know Majora's Mask was at some point intended to go onto the GameCube? So as a callback, to that, because of timing and stuff like that, they thought it might have to end up on the GameCube. As a callback to that, under one of the pots in the astronomy tower is a picture of a dolphin, because the GameCube's original name was called Project Dolphin.
Ah.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that. Well, I suppose if it hadn't made that year, it was already releasing 2000, and the GameCube was going to be 2001.
Yeah. So as
they
a
wouldn't have
side
wanted
effect,
to release a first party title any later than Majora's Mask came out. But did you know that in the first 3-day cycle, time actually moves quicker anyway?
I love that. Did you know? But did you know?
That's the problem with these games. Is like,
but did you know?
You and I already know a lot.
No, I didn't know, but I'm really grateful because the third day of the first set of days always feels so slow. Because you're like, I know where he is. I'm just waiting and waiting.
Well, that's the thing. It moves quicker, but there's nowhere near
enough time.
Too much.
Yeah. But it also introduces you to like the owl sculptures and stuff like that. It introduces you to quite a bit of the gameplay and some of the characters that you recognise.
And if you are doing a repeat playthrough, there is a scarecrow that can help you skip to the final day once you've done all the tutorial stuff.
Yeah, which is pretty good. And I mean, you go up there, you see Majora, you get your ocarina back, and the only part of the entire game that Zelda turns up, of course, is to reteach you the song, Ocarina, the Time song.
The Song of Time.
That's the one. I got it the wrong way round. You know, tail tattle. So yeah, that's the only time she turns up in the entire game. That's kind of not exactly named up after her, but you know. And so yeah, that's the basic gameplay. You go back to Majora's Mask. Oh no, you go back to the happy mask salesman, tells you a bit more and says, bugger off and call these giants and save the day and stuff.
Well, he teaches you the Song of Healing.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Because, of course, as any good Majora's Mask fan knows, that all the main powered masks come from someone. The Deku Scrub is supposed to come from the butler's son that you see, and he's the one who gives you the pig mask. The Goron is pretty obvious because it kind of falls off his grave, and same, to be fair, with the Zora, it's kind of obvious because he dies and then you get his face.
That's a way to describe it, isn't it?
I know. I just thought I thought that as soon as I finished it, I was just like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's a Song of Healing, and it's at least the Goron and the Zora are shown to be quite tormented in some way.
Yeah, and it's about like giving them some closure. It's about giving them, and both of those two storylines wrap quite strongly around the temples. So it's like calming their spirit or whatever, which is pretty cool concept, really. Yeah,
but very dark though.
Did you know that the game represents 5 stages of grief, and this has been confirmed by the creator. This is what they were hoping to do. So of course you've got when you get to Clocktown in the first place, you've got the denial over the moon falling from the townsfolk. Then of course the Deku of the Woodfall Palace, he's anger over the loss of his princess. You've got the dead Goron bargains with Link to keep his people safe. You've got the depressed Lulu who has lost her eggs, and then Link's acceptance when in the last temple, when he finds no new masks and is able to finish his quest and go and defeat Majora.
Yeah, I knew that was like a theory. I didn't realise it had been confirmed.
Yeah. Which is pretty sad. I mean, people do say this is one of the darkest Zelda games out there.
But to be honest, for a game made in a year, it's got such strong underlying themes.
Well, I suppose
I'd say arguably its artistic themes are possibly some of the strongest in any Zelda game, because a lot of Zelda games is kind of, the light is good and the dark is bad.
Well, I suppose if you think about the main mechanics of the game, they already had that from the Ocarina. They just had to fit it into their new world. Once they decided what sort of setup they wanted, then they really did have the time, even in a year, to really think about those characters and that time restraint and think about how it can really affect the individuals that they put in the game, instead of just having them as extras or background or whatever. Every single character feels linked in a way to one of those masks, which means that, of course, they're part of the side stories. Which,
yeah,
of
and
course,
all the side stories feel quite full as a result, because you can see them all play out throughout 3 days.
So I wasn't planning on going into every single side story, because there are quite a few, but I was going to ask you your top 3.
So, like, the side quests.
Yeah.
So, probably the one that immediately comes to mind is the one I referenced earlier, which is the Anju and Cafe side quest.
See, that's on my top 3 as well. Just because it is literally the entire period of those 3 days, and there's so many little elements to get that mask.
Yeah, and there's so many, like, different bits to it, and you have to do that. Unfortunately, you have to do that quest multiple times to get everything from it, because there's some times you can't make.
Well, you have to make a decision, don't you? You have to either leave them or go here instead, or whatever it might be.
Even at the very end, you get given the letter. I think it's from Cafe to, like, give to his mother to say that he's safe.
Yeah.
And you either give it to her directly, and you get one of the you get, I think, a bottle, or you give it to the postman, and he gives you the postman's hat.
Which, of course, then means you have to do that storyline at least twice. Let alone, isn't there one where you don't go and find them, you go to the milk bar instead? Or is that the postman one?
That's when you give the letter to his mum directly.
But yeah, I really like that storyline. That'd be on my top 3. 2 more? Well, 2 more?
I'm trying to think. That's definitely the one that I think of the most. I'm trying to think through the other characters in the game.
If you consider it as a side quest, which I do, of course, I really like the aliens.
Oh, what the
yeah, I think
the
they're
Romani Ranch
ridiculous.
Stuff.
I think they're ridiculous, and the fact that they're even in the game, and it's a really hard bit, and I find it really hard to complete. And that stupid cow, but I think it's funny. I think it's just another element of this game that kind of makes it unique. I mean, aliens, dude, come on.
Okay, so I would agree. Like the Romani Ranch side story. So what you've got there is first you have to be able to. Isn't it powder kegs? You have to be able to carry. So you have to blow up the rock early, because otherwise the path doesn't open up on time. Then you have to protect the ranch from aliens, and then you have to protect the cart from the Goro. Was it the Goro brothers?
Yes. Which was, of course, the horse riders, the other ranch that was competing with them or whatever.
The pair of Ingos.
Yeah, which is weird.
Who try and steal the milk and attack the cart.
Those thieves. Those bandits. Those renegades. I'm done.
I'm trying to.
And then
there's a lot of one-note characters that I remember. Like, obviously, I remember the bomb woman who you have to protect from getting mugged.
Well, that would be a side quest.
There's obviously Honey and Darling, whose game changes every day.
Oh dear, yeah, those two. I'd say another side quest that I really remember, is would you call it a side quest? The Lulu eggs. Because technically, you have to do it to learn the song. Well, no, I suppose that's not a side quest.
Well, it's a It depends what we're defining. If we're defining like a character story with an arc, then yes. But if you're saying side quests are not part of the main story, then probably no, because you have to do it.
I suppose coming up with 3 is a little bit hard. Maybe it's just stuff that we remember most from the game, but you can see why. Obviously, I don't want to go in. We can't really go into every single one.
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of characters with just like one thing that you do. You've got the fox that you can find in Clocktown, who asks you trivia questions.
Yeah, which is random enough. Isn't there a frog as well that you need to?
Oh, that's an annoying one.
Yeah, that's up at Snowhead Mountain,
you have to reunite
isn't it?
the frog quiet. Well, yeah. So you get the Don Giro's mask from a Goron after giving him a steak.
Obviously.
A rock sirloin, I think it was. And then he gives you the Donjoro's mask, and then there's 5 frogs, I think, in the game. And you have to speak to them wearing the mask, and they'll return to Snowhead when spring comes. So you have to defeat the temple, and then you have to conduct the choir, and then I think you just get a piece of heart for it.
Yeah.
So there's some that are like...
Not lame,
I remember that's one of the only games I ever remember us having the guide for, and we probably needed it.
Well, I'm not surprised if people have had to use guides for this game just because of the in-depth and how much everything is linked in this game. But yeah, very enjoyable characters, very in-depth worlds, which is really good. I mean, if we're talking about the original gameplay to the 3DS game, apart from, of course, the save ability, which we've already touched on, what other elements do you think they've made better in the second game?
So I know if you had a 3DS XL, the second analog stick, you had a free moving camera, which was pretty cool, which could help. One of the things that the 3DS remake did badly, which you're definitely going to agree, is it changed the way that Zoras swim to make it easier to control. But made it less fun.
I love the original Zora. That used to be my favourite part of getting to the Zora part of the game, because you could swim like a freaking dolphin. Yeah, it was hard to control, but it was so much fun. And I agree, most agreeable.
Thank you. What are the other changes in the 3DS version? To be honest, I remember a lot of the quality of life stuff I enjoyed. For some reason, our N64 cartridge just kept on crashing, so being able to just complete something was nice.
Well, a Nintendo 3DS remake titled Majora's Mask 3D was announced by Nintendo November the 5th, 2014. Similar to the Ocarina of Time 3D, the remake features update graphics and other additions. The remake was released on February the 13th, 2015 in North America and Europe, and then on February the 14th, 2015 in Japan and Australia.
Yes. I'm looking up a list of the differences now.
Well, as you do that, did you know, of course, there was a CD released with the soundtrack from this game. Guess how many tracks was on that free CD'd collection?
100.
112.
Like I said, I listened to the soundtrack the other day. And there was roughly 100, about 110 tracks on it.
Well, I can tell you officially there's 112 tracks. But it was released on June 21st, 2000. The composer, Kajuri Kondo. And there was a co-composer, Tarui Mainshi. Tarui Mainshi came up with a couple of the Pacific Temple soundtracks, which is pretty cool. But yeah, they really took a nice spin, another spin on the Zelda sort of music-esque. I mean, it sounds like any other sort of Zelda game, but of course there's some tracks that make it a bit more unique to...
It's very atmospheric.
Yeah.
Like the clock town every day gets a bit faster and a bit more frantic until the night of the final day, where it just sounds
do you know which place
depressed.
came straight to mind when I said soundtrack? The Snowhead Mountain, for some reason. The ding ding ding. And I was just like,
oh,
I don't know why, it just very distinguished and very distinct for that area, and of course how the music changed once summertime comes. Oh, talk about side quests, that whole sword thing with that gimped out guy behind the counter.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it? Because he just like row, row,
row, row. That's my brother, really.
Yeah, well, you know, like the each of the 4 areas, as you went into that first bit, they all had kind of the same tune, but they used different instruments, didn't they?
Yes.
Because all of them had the dun, Dun dun dun. Wow 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 wow. Dun 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 wow. You know.
Yeah.
Although speaking of which, there's a remix album for Majora's Mask, which I think I played for you over Christmas when we were just. I think
Messing
we were
around.
playing. We were playing Zelda Cluedo, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
And I've ordered physical versions of the 2 CDs of that because of the artwork on the cover and how much I listen to them. I mean, also because my car only has a CD player. It's the art style, the themes. It's strange for a game that's built off an old engine and uses a lot of the same character models to be this different. If that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. And I think that fans of the Zelda series, when it comes to artwork for Majora's Mask, it's very distinct because, of course, that darker element to the game is, as I said earlier, if it is the like more darker storylines of the Zelda franchise. And I think fans and, of course, creators really take essence from that in their art styles, which makes it very interesting. Indeed. In fact, currently my phone and my tablet have Majora's Mask fan work as their background because it's just amazing.
I thought the background for your phone menu was the official art. Isn't that the one with like the shadow as Majora?
Is that official art, is that?
Yeah, because remember I had it on a poster.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Okay, so official for phone and then fan for tablet.
Well, the video icon of this video is using probably my favourite piece of Majora's Mask art, of him holding the Mask of Truth just away from his face, and you've got everything going on behind him.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, I just think... Okay, what's your favourite mask?
So, are we talking original or 3DS? Because, of course, original would have to be Zora. Because of the way you can jump in the water. That is so much fun!
Okay, let's do it in 2 steps. Let's do the favourite one for its abilities and the favourite one for its look.
Oh,
Look does not include transformation masks.
Okay. So, none of the originals. As in, like, the ones like Deku or Zora or...
So, for functionality, we'll include them. But for look, it's just how they look on human Link, I guess. Or their actual design rather than... Because it seems like a bit of an unfair competition to be like, well, this one looks like bunny ears. Well, this one makes you into a Goron.
That's fair enough. So, of course, if you're talking function, Zora Mask, from the original game, but if you're talking from the 3DS, I know it's a very simple concept. I know that it's used in Super Smash Brothers. I just love the bunny ears. I think they're great. I think they're simple. They're from the Ocarina of Time as well, so they've travelled on through. But if we're talking purely look, it has to be Majora's Mask. And I know that's not a mask that you can use, but I just love the look of it. If I got a tat of Majora's Mask, from Majora's Mask, it would have to be Majora's Mask. Because I just love it. I think it has so much kind of like elements to it.
Yeah.
It has a lot of foreboding, and it just like stares in with the colours. It has colour, but it comes across so dark.
It's very iconic in its design, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, I agree with you about the bunny hood. And one of the best things the Ocarina of Time modding community ever did was create a mod for Ocarina of Time, which gives the bunny hood its Majora's Mask abilities.
Boom.
So you can run really fast.
Woohoo!
Because that's just a time saver, really.
Yeah.
So actually, functionality-wise, that one, outside the transformation mask, it's probably that one. The transformation mask, I'd probably go on for the rolling.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of look, just going back, it'd probably be... I like Majora's Mask, but if we're talking about the actual wearable masks, I'm a big fan of the design of the Mask of Truth, just because it's so weird and it's got like the Sheikah design on it, and...
I can see that. Which one is that? The one that looks like the Seeing Stones from Ocarina of Time, or is that the?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the one that lets you speak to the Seeing Stones, because they're still in this game.
Mm.
And now, I've just been scrolling through whilst we've been talking, like, changes. I forgot about this change in the 3D version, but it definitely was a good change. Is that the Bomber's Notebook ticks off the stuff you've done.
Oh, that's so satisfying.
And it's just useful. It's just a quality of life improvement, because you don't
do
have
it,
to, like,
and
be
it
like,
ticks
oh, have I
off.
done it already?
Gotta love a tick list.
They've just, and then there's, to be honest, like, those are kind of like the biggest changes. They changed the mask of the Garrow's mask, which kind of makes sense, because you look more like the master rather than just one of their members of their tribe.
Yeah. But can we all agree that stoned Link looks weird?
Yeah. Well, he's
regardless of which game. It's weird.
Well, that's the thing. It created all those really creepy fan stories, didn't it? About
memes
like
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He just. Who okayed that?
I don't know, man. Maybe it was a restriction in the Nintendo 64 version, and then of course it became iconic, so they included it in the 3DS version.
Yeah. Maybe they were just like, we can't make it too much like the Link model because it might be confusing to the player, so we need to make it very clear that this is not your playable character by making him look terrible.
So, did you know that Majora's Mask sold approximately 314,000 copies in the first week of sales in Japan, and has sold 3.36 million worldwide? But that is still fewer than the Ocarina of Time, which has sold 7 million copies.
No, I didn't know the exact numbers, but I knew it sold less than Ocarina.
Yeah. Which is, I suppose, fair enough. I mean, it's a hard one, because Ocarina is always going to be the game that went 3D first and did so many things first. But of course, this is a direct sequel, so...
And also, games that release... This game was starting to push on to the end of the N64's life.
Yeah.
So that can also affect sales as well. But I think, I don't know, it's a... I'm not surprised, but it's surprising that, like, Ocarina's almost double, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you want to hear some weird and wonderful facts about Majora's Mask?
Yeah, alright. As we're here.
Let's start with... Did you know that Ganondorf's horse is at Romani's ranch? It's upstairs in Mama's house. It's a cuddly toy version, and it's down the side of the bed because it has a glowing orange eyes.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this game, which is just another tip of the hat to the creators if you think, again, of the timescale. Along with the Kokiri sword, tunic and boots, and Ocarina of Time, the Stone of Agony is one of the few items that Link preserves from the Ocarina of Time. Since the game will still rumble near a secret area, no reference to it is ever made, unlike the other items, although Link can pick up bomb flowers, suggesting he also kept Goron's bracelet, although it's not seen on his model.
Yeah, well, that's the Stone of Agony, I think they just kind of included that in the regular game. And it's implied that Link is slightly older, because his model in Majora's Mask is slightly bigger than his child model in Ocarina. So he could have just been making those gains, you know? He could have just been naturally strong enough to lift those bombs.
Maybe. Just, nursing those guns. Those swans are so sick.
Well, I mean, there's that old... I'm not sure if you've got it on your list of facts. If so, I'm sorry for completely throwing you off course. But there was those cut animations of the Great Fairies.
Yes, I did have that one. It's all good. Teaching him certain moves.
Yeah, and he would be doing, like, exercises, and, like, they'd be, like, guiding him and teaching him rather than just giving it to him.
I feel like it's an element that they moved to the Twilight Princess, with, of course, the skull...
the Hero's Shade, isn't it?
Yeah, teaching him his old moves.
Yeah, more interactive. Whereas, I suppose with like the Twilight Princess as well, is you're actually learning a move on the controller as well. Whereas this is like your magic meter and stuff like that, or just holding down for a better spin attack. So possibly they didn't think they needed like the little animation of him learning it.
No, I suppose not. Do you know who Sakon is? Sakon is a guy who steals the bomb bag off the old lady.
Oh, yeah, I thought, yeah.
He is the first non-playable character that can be murdered by Link. Because, of course, this can be done with the arrow targeting at the stolen bomb bag, which heavily implies that he just gets blown up.
Yeah, you never think of it that way, do you?
No.
Just like, damn,
As kids, you're just like, oh, it just disappears.
I failed the quest. I'm going to go reverse time to bring him back to life.
Yeah, it's just a concept that's kind of like brushed under the carpet. Oh, thank you for getting my bomb bag back. What happened to the other guy? What other guy?
Well, you don't get the bomb bag back if you blow him up. Because you've blown up the bomb bag.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And the old lady's just like, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Sucks to be him. Majora's Mask contains the least amount of main dungeons in any Zelda game to date, being, of course, 4 in total. In addition, all items obtained in the main dungeons pertain to the bow.
Yeah, because you get the bow in the first one, and then fire arrows in the second one, then ice arrows in the third one, and then the light arrows in the fourth one.
Boom.
It's just fairies and keys in the dungeons aside from that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all sort of simple stuff. But, to date, only for the least amount. I can't imagine them making a game with less than 4 main dungeons, but you never know.
Oh, so if you think about it, Majora's Mask is actually tied with Breath of the Wild for the least number of dungeons, but then Breath of the Wild had all those shrines instead.
Yeah, how many temples are in Breath of the Wild? Because I haven't actually... Is there only 4? Oh, because they're the great beasts, aren't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, someone's going to argue with me that, like, the Hyrule Castle at the end counts as one, but you've got 4 divine beasts. Yeah. But then you've got something like 120 shrines, so...
Yeah, that kind of balances out a lot compared to Majora's Mask. So, of course, the flow of time in the first 3-day cycle as Deku Link is 1.66 times faster than normal, like you said. When time is altered to be at this rate during the first cycle, no enemies or NPCs will appear in Termina Field. This cannot be seen normally in gameplay, as Link is confined to Clock Town during the first 3-day cycle, which is almost entirely scripted, like we mentioned earlier. But imagine, I'm guessing there is some way to get past the guards for people to, like, explore this.
I think speedrunners can do stuff like that.
In Icana Canyon, Flat, the Poe who appears, mentions his brother Sharp, who, quote-unquote, sold his soul to the devil. This is interesting considering that there is no known deity in Zelda who is directly referred to as the devil. It's possible that only Terminers believe in this deity, or he refers to another deity such as Majora. Nevertheless, the devil plays some sort of role in Termina media. He may not be referring to a god at all. So it's very questionable of what actually happened to his brother.
Unless it's just a person called Devil.
Hey, I'm Devil. Well, it could be. I mean,
you sold your soul to Devil.
Devil's going to be really upset.
Devil, give him back his soul. I've got work tomorrow.
And of course, the Wii Virtual Console version used fewer blocks than Ocarina of Time, as data compression for the Virtual Console game has been improved since the release of Ocarina of Time on the Wii Virtual Console. However, the Wii Virtual Console release of Majora's Mask used 3 blocks for save data, which is 3 times the amount of space that the Wii Virtual Console release of Ocarina of Time used. So basically, it used up more space in the space in the Wii Virtual Console. Yeah, probably a lame one to end on, but you know.
Yeah, no, that wasn't an anticlimax at all. Well done, Vicky.
There's other interesting ones. It's all good. But yeah, so that was Majora's Mask. I mean, I've had so much fun talking about this game, and I think if we allowed ourselves, we could do another episode talking about this game and still have new content to talk about. But yeah, what are your memories?
I think Majora's Mask is a very, very good game. I think possibly it's a Zelda game that's maybe one of the most memorable stylistically, artistically, musically, thematically than any Zelda game. But Ocarina of Time is still better.
It's one of those. It's amazing how amazing this game is if you consider the time restraints and the year restraint that they had. But it will always, 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 always live in Ocarina's shadow, which is why, even though, of course, some of the characters were copied across, I think it was so important that it had that time element.
Yeah.
It's one of the ways it made it a unique game. If it had the same sort of gameplay to Ocarina of Time, oh my goodness, the comparisons would be even worse. I do feel that the 3D version has made enough improvements, besides Zora swimming, to make it an easier gameplay than, of course, the original version. And, of course, 3DSs are more accessible these days than old Nintendo 64s. But if you consider the time that it came out, it was still a groundbreaking game. I mean, Ocarina of Time rocked so many worlds. It started so much in the gaming industry for its gameplay and the 3D and everything like that. But Majora's Mask still brought it back with a really gritty feel, the 3-day time limit, and some really interesting characters, even though some of them were repeated from the original storyline.
It's impressive what they managed to do in a year, and
crazy.
And it's still just it's still up there like the top N64 games. And to be honest, whenever I think about what do I think Breath of the Wild 2 will be like, I think of Majora's Mask, and it makes me very hopeful, because this is a similar situation. Now they've made the engine and they've got all that together.
Now they can experiment.
Yeah, I like it when, and also it they go a bit off the rails, they go a bit nuts with what they do, and they don't just stick to the regular storyline of the destined hero.
Yeah, because let's be honest, some of the Zelda franchise can definitely just be a follow A to B and B to C, and you're the hero and this is what you have to do. What makes stories like that interesting is the storyline. This one just went, to hell with that, let's add in this time scale, and I think that's another thing that put people off it as well as make people love it, because I know the original game, the time scale was a big problem for people. Because it was hard to work around. As you said, the save element earlier.
And also it's very, very dark.
Yeah, which I don't mind.
Yeah, I know, I don't mind. And to be honest, thinking about if I was going to make do a stream or or if we were gonna let's play one of the two Zelda games, I'd probably be let's do Majora's Mask before I'd be let's do Ocarina of Time, because
you'd have
Majora's
more
Mask
to do.
And it's so almost so dense with interesting stuff that would be, I think, more endurable to do a let's play of. Yet when I'm I want to replay one of these two Zelda games just for my own enjoyment, I'll do Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, because it's not that it's an easy game, and when it came out it wasn't an easy game, but we know it's, well, I speak for me and probably for you, we know it so well that it's an easy game to play. That it's still challenging enough, but I mean you've got those randomizers now that can make it more challenging, but it's still just an enjoyable game just to sit down and play. Whereas Majora's Mask, it's not that it isn't, it's just
it requires more energy to play, because it requires you to be more strategic.
Yeah.
To think a bit more about it. There's a lot of almost a lot of it more information to digest.
Yeah. Like
auditory, visual, subtext. Whereas Ocarina of Time is very much, you are chosen hero, go save. Go on, boy, go save it. Go save the world. Whereas Majora's Mask is okay, so what you've got 3 days until the moon falls.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? We're not going to tell you. We're going to point you in the right compass direction.
We're basically
but then you're on your own, buddy.
Yeah. You basically can't leave Clocktown but you can do anything you like. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? And who are these people? Go and find out. Shoo, off you go. Well,
so to be fair, it's another testament to the game that it can be so different.
Well, if you think about certain other Zelda franchises, I mean, A Link Between Worlds, you become a painting. I mean, Twilight Princess, you become a dog. I mean, they really commit to these transitions into other worlds, and then once they get a concept, how would this affect your gameplay? How would this affect the world? Collecting masks, and how would those masks affect your gameplay and this time, you know?
Yeah.
Does that? I hope that makes sense.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I've been VicStar.
And I've been haddowinc.
Thank you for joining us. It's been so much fun talking about this, and I hope you're staying safe. And please check out our other channels. Philip's going to list them now.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, obviously subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. What are your memories of Majora's Mask? Are we completely crazy for saying that Ocarina of Time is better? Let us know in the comments below. This is the 10th episode of the second season of Big Nostalgia, which means you've got 19 other episodes just like this on 19 other N64 games you can listen to.
Check them out!
Right now on our channel.
Check them out. They probably won't be this long.
What we did at the end of the first season was we did a top 10 of season 1, and we're working on the same for season 2, so it's probably going to take a few weeks and or months, but we do plan to come back with ranking the 10 games you just heard us talking about. What do you think the ranking's going to be?
Let us know.
Let us know. But if you're sick of hearing us talk about games or want to see us play some games, you can head over to my other channel, which is the haddowinc channel, where VicStar and I have been playing through A Hat in Time. We've also got a very short series on there on Lego Racers, and I think we played some 2 Point Hospital as well.
I checked it out, didn't I, for the first time I recorded it.
And also talking about Breath of the Wild, it probably isn't out now. I think a few weeks ago I was like, oh, it's probably out by now. I haven't started working on it. But it'll be out
eventually.
We're making an abridged series of Breath of the Wild called Abridged of the Wild, which will be out
soon.
Someone.
Yes.
Soon.
Soon.
We are editing it.
We are. Well, he is. Ha.
And if that's not enough content, then Vicky hosted a Zelda quiz like a few years ago. That is also on the haddowinc channel.
No, you did the Zelda quiz. I did the Batman quiz.
There's also a Batman quiz.
Yes, there is. There's quizzes. There's lots of stuff to check out, so check them out.
But until then, and until the top 10, and until
everything else,
the next video from us, I've been haddowinc.
And I've been VicStar. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
See you next time.
Bien.
Do 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 do.
Bien.
Do 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 do.
Bien.
Do 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 do.
Big nostalgia.
Yeah.